Okay. So we are going to go ahead and start today. We're going to start a bit slower before we get to some more intense shapes. The focus today is really about digesting things. I just finished one of my acting classes where we were focused on being villains, and it was so much fun. If you ever have a class where you can go and purposely be the bad guy, I say sign up for it, because it is exhilarating to not have to constantly adhere to social norms and be like okay with it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm congratulated for not being nice. In any case, I was reading through one of the plays that I was doing because I hadn't read through. It's a two-parter, and I hadn't read through both parts. I just read the section that I was doing, and so I finished reading through the whole work. It's Tony Kushner's Angels in America. If you know anything about it, it's like 7 hours worth of theater. So of course I didn't read the whole thing. And in any case, there's this section where they're talking about like we all hold on so much because we feel like we need to. And yet at some point we have to learn to let go, because that's the only thing we can do. So our practice today is really focused on this idea of learning to let go. So we're going to start with some gentle shapes in order to try to open our hearts and get into some bigger, more expressive shapes, i.e. Asana. Cool. So to that end, let's go ahead and start on our abdomens. We can start by taking our strap and just putting it off to the side, put the blanket off to the side, and then the blocks, both of them can go off to a side. We don't really need to be concerned with them right now. And then you're going to come with your head towards the top of your mat and lay down in heads up, 7-up style. So go ahead and stack both forearms on top of each other. And then once you're on your abdomen, take a moment to notice, how do you want your feet? Do you want your legs at least hip distance apart? Or do you want them a little wider? Do you want your toes to point in towards each other, kind of pigeon toes, or would you prefer to have your toes spin out? And then notice how it feels. Do you like just your hands stacked on top of each other, or do you want more of the forearm to support your head? Whichever option is totally okay, but you just take a moment to notice what feels best to you. And then because we're focused on this concept of digestion, we're really seeing if we can allow ourselves to first learn to create space so that the churning that needs to happen with digestion can happen. So task number 1, orient your body. Check, you did that. Task number 2, see how heavy you can make your body. How heavy can you allow your pelvis to descend into the floor? How heavy can you make your abdomen, your ribs, the elbows, the shoulders, the head, the hands, and the feet? And then with that sense of weight, with that sense of gravity, can you start to breathe into your belly? And we'll see if we can breathe into our belly, between our pubic bone and our belly button. And those of you specifically that mentioned you were experiencing low back discomfort, the more you can distend, so press your belly into the floor, you might begin to notice a sense of lift, spaciousness in your low back. And some of you will just stay with that, just breathing into the belly, pressing it into the floor, feeling the widening of the low back. Some of you might begin to grow this breath. So you'll breathe into the belly and maybe into more of the ribs in the front, and you'll feel that expansion happening in the low back and then maybe up into the mid back. And maybe you'll just play with that, making the breath roughly between your lowest front ribs and your pubic bone. And then some of you might make it even bigger than that. So seeing if you can breathe all the way from your pubic bone all the way up to your sternum. And we'll just take 3 or 4 more breaths like that. Again, allowing the body to really drop into gravity, to let go. And then once you let go, really just fill the body with breath, the front body specifically, so that you can feel it press against the floor and create a buoyancy, a lift into the back body. Fantastic. At the end of this next exhalation, turn your head to face the right. So your left cheek is on the mat. Now bend your right knee to a 90-degree angle, like you're taking a half frog, half goddess pose. You might open the right foot out so it's in line with the right knee, or you might keep the right foot closer to your pubic bone. It's totally up to you. But I want you to now take 4 to 5 breaths, breathing in between your pubic bone and your tailbone. And specifically those with the low back discomfort, the more you can make your breath really, really vibrant in the front from pubic bone to belly button, the more you'll feel your low back widen, you'll feel it soften. So before we start to ask our body to go into these extreme back bends, I thought it'd be nice if we just got it to gently open. And you just notice how that feels as you continue to breathe into the pubic bone, pelvic floor area, low belly, low back. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, let's go ahead and draw our right knee back to meet the left. Draw your forehead back towards the center. Take a moment and just notice if you notice anything between your right and your left low back. And then when you're ready, we'll turn our gaze to face the left. You'll bend your left knee out to about a 90-degree angle. Notice if you want to open the left foot out so it also makes a 90-degree angle in the knee. And then you've got about 5 deep breaths. So we're stretching the inner adductor thigh. We're noticing that the more you can breathe across your pelvic floor here. So Laura, put the foot on the floor and almost open your knee out like a frog shape. So like you're going towards tree or half frog, knee is on the floor and foot is underneath it. There we go. And then you just pause and you breathe. And again, people experiencing low back discomfort, the bigger you can make that breath into your abdomen, the more relief you might experience in the low back. Nice work. All right, on our next in-breath, let's go ahead and draw the left leg back to meet the right. Go ahead and bring both hands out into a cactus shape, 90-degree angle. Once again, look towards your right. From here, step your right hand underneath your right elbow shoulder region, keeping, let's see, left hand, can you make that a 90-degree angle, Sandy? So elbow and wrist is a 90-degree angle, so the one behind you. There we go. And then you'll turn towards the left, pushing into the right hand. So if your left elbow is in a 90-degree angle, it makes it where you feel the pec stretch on the front of the left chest. And then you just pause and you breathe. And you take about 5 breaths here. And some of you might lift your head and lean your head back just a little bit. Notice how that feels across the front of your chest. Some of you will notice that maybe you like your head more towards the floor. But after you've taken 5 complete breaths, you'll roll back onto your abdomen. You'll notice if you notice anything between the sides. And then we'll switch sides. So the right elbow is out to the right, make a 90-degree angle at the shoulder and the elbow. Turn your face to the left, step your left hand underneath your left shoulder, and then roll to the right. So Julie, keep your elbows on the floor. Julie, come out for me, please. Come back to your belly. Make both arms like a cactus. Okay, now put your ear down. Yeah. Step the right hand underneath and then roll to your left. There you go. And so you just pause and you breathe. And after you've taken your 5 breaths, you come back onto your abdomen and you just notice how it feels to be here now. Great. Now here's the first of our back bends for the day. So I want you to take this very, very deliberately. Bring your hands alongside your rib cage, thumbs in line with your nipples. Separate your feet at least hip distance apart. Make sure you can press your pinky toenails and your big toenails into the mat or the floor. And then energize your legs, lightly hugging your glute muscles in towards your midline. On your next in-breath, you'll pull your heart forward and through and come into whatever height of cobra you want. And then you'll exhale and lower down. You've got 4 more, so a total of 5 of these. So every time you can gradually get a little bit bigger, inhaling, pulling your heart forward and through, and then exhaling, lowering down. As you continue 3 more times on your own, you keep your legs engaged. You notice if you can deepen and elongate your breath. And then you just notice what it feels like to slowly start to explore this heart opening shape. What do you need to let go of? What do you need to relinquish in order to come into your Bhujangasana? Fantastic. After you've done a total of 5, you'll go ahead and lower all the way back down. Curl both sets of toes under. Push down into your hands, scoop your abdomen and organs away from the floor, and then come up to a hands and knees position. Take a moment here to press back to child's pose for just a breath cycle. Nice. And then from your child's pose, you'll roll up to sit on top of your shins. Now, if this is not comfortable, go ahead and sit on a block, but otherwise we'll stay here in Vajrasana. And the first thing that we'll do is plant our right hand out to the right and go ahead and lift your left arm up. And we're going to start to take a little side bend over towards the right. Now, as we're doing that, let's see if we can find space in our ribs on the left side. So almost think about really rooting your left hip down. As you reach your left fingers to the right, you soften your right shoulder and you just see if you can find space in your intercostal muscles all along your left side. Nice work. Next inhalation, go ahead and come up through center. Take a moment to let both hands drop and just notice if you notice anything between the sides. And then when you're ready to move on, the left hand plants, the right hand reaches up and overhead, and we take a little side bend over towards the left. And again, we're thinking about allowing there to be space by letting go. So we're releasing the right hip into the floor. We're releasing the right arm over to the left. We're letting go of tension around the left shoulder. And then we're finding space in the muscles between the ribs on our right side. Nice work. Next inhalation, go ahead and come up. Go ahead and allow both hands to drop. Close your eyes and just notice what you notice in the shoulder girdle now. Moving on, go ahead and reach your left arm up. Bend your left elbow. Grab your left elbow with your right hand. And again, you'll press the left elbow to the left. You'll pull it to the right. You'll see if you can draw your front ribs back and lift your sternum up, and then draw your skull back. And if you're happy as a clam here because you've got a nice stretch happening on your left side, stay there. Otherwise, you might lift your right arm up, reach the right arm to the right, turn the thumb down, reach back behind you, and maybe clasp your hands. If you can't clasp your hands, it does not matter. We're letting go of just trying too much. So we're just going to breathe here. We've got 2 more breath cycles here, keeping the spine as vertical as it can be. When you're ready, gently release the right hand down, release the left hand down. Notice if you can notice what's happening in the shoulders. Sometimes it feels good to roll them around. Sometimes it feels good to just be still. When we're ready to try the other side, right arm lifts up, bend the right elbow, grab your right elbow with your left hand. Again, press the right elbow to the right, pull it to the left, root down into the back of the sit bones as you scoop the pubic bone up a little bit, draw your front ribs back, sternum lifts, head presses back. And you might stay here. You might reach your left arm up, left arm out, left thumb down, swim the arm behind you, and maybe clasp the hands. And if you are clasping the hands, see if you can still keep your head on top of the spine and the left shoulder draws back as the right elbow lifts up. Cool. All right. 1 more breath cycle here. When you're ready, gently release the left hand, gently release the right hand, and release. Notice if you feel anything between the sides. Okay, so now we're going to take a twist. This one is weird, but it's going to build up to what we're going to do later. So we're going to take a twist to the right. I'm going to have you hold on with one hand, and the other hand is going to hold the opposite leg, and you're going to twist here, but you're not really yanking yourself into it. You're pushing your spine into those points of contact, okay? So hands at heart center. Let's go ahead and sit tall. Rotate now to your right. From here, you're going to bring your left hand to the outside edge of your right knee. Push your right thumb hand into your sternum. Push your sternum into your hand. And just notice how you have a bit of rotation happening in the spine here. Some of you will just stay right here. You'll make your left sit bone super heavy. You'll lift up through your crown. You'll feel this nice, elongated rotation. Others of you are going to take your left elbow, plant it outside of your right knee, and then stack your right hand on top of your left hand. And you might just push both palms into each other, make your spine as long as it can be, and then scoop the belly on the right side as you rotate towards the right. And in this one, I find that the more I push my hands into each other, I get this crazy sensation happening in my back. So you just pay attention to what's happening like in between my shoulder blades. All right, when you're ready to come out of that, you'll gently unwind with an in-breath. You'll release both hands to the tops of your thighs and just notice if you notice anything in the spine, in the shoulders, any of the above. All right, let's move on. Hands come back to heart center, lift through the spine, and then on your next exhale, start to rotate to the left. Bring your right hand outside of your left knee. Your left thumb pushes into your sternum pushes into the thumb. You start to rotate towards the left and root down into your right sit bone. You might just stay here. It's a nice twist. It's a long spine. Fantastic. Otherwise, you might bend your right elbow. Right elbow comes to the outside edge of your left knee. Your left hand stacks on top of your right. You press the palms to each other. You scoop the belly on the left side and you rotate towards the left. And you just pause and you breathe. See if your head can remain in alignment with your spine. Nice work. And then when you're ready, we'll gently inhale and unwind out of that. Cool. Let's move on. Let's come forward to hands and knees. This is going to be weird, I promise, but it'll hopefully feel better. So you're going to come to hands and knees. I want you to walk your knees a little bit closer towards each other than you ordinarily would. Curl all 10 toes under. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders. Now drop your head like sad little cows not living in California. Now, your head is a sad cow, but I want you to start to scoop all your organs away from the floor like you're trying to go into cat shape. Press more into your pinky toes and start to lift your tuchus up towards the ceiling. So you're still scooping your organs. Your pinky toes are pressing down. Your tuchus is lifting to where the sky and the wall meet. And you'll eventually find that the more you can scoop your organs away and the more you can lift your pelvis and the more you can push your pinky toes down, your spine will unfurl into downward facing dog. And what we're paying attention to as we do this is what's happening in our shoulder joint. So you scoop the organs, you lift your tuchus, you press your pinky toes down. Yeah, those look nice, people. All right, inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Nice work. From here, let's bring our hands to our blocks. Great. Some of you will also lower a blanket between or behind your back knee. So we're in this low lunge. We got a blanket prepped there for us. And we're going to pause here for a few breaths. I want you to really push down into your front heel, really lift up into your back inner thigh and squeeze your left butt cheek just a smidge. See if you can make your spine a little bit longer. Nice work. Next, exhale, lower your back knee to the blanket or floor. From here, push down into the left knee, push down into the right foot, suck those points together and start to bring your spine up to vertical. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is, again, push the foot down, push the heel down, suck those points together. But today I want you to draw the top of your left hip back and squeeze your left butt cheek just a little bit. Some of you will stay right here. That should shift the sensation to the front of your left thigh. Some of you will reach your left arm up. Some of you will take a little side bend to the left as you lightly push your right hand into your right thigh for stability. And you're just going to pause and breathe. And again, we're opening the rib cage on the left side. Nice work. Next in-breath, let's go ahead and come back through center. Lower your hands down to the blocks. Curl the back toes under, straighten the back leg long. Step your left foot a little bit to the left and spin the foot down for warrior one. So because we've got our hands on the blocks, we can take a slightly longer stance than normal. Really root down into your back pinky toe first and start to root your heel down in the front foot. Squeeze the legs together, bring your spine up to vertical. Yeah. For today, can you bring your hands to your hips? I want you to soften the gaze or close the eyes. Just go internal. See what happens in your back leg if you squeeze your back butt cheek. Does that allow you to get more stretch across the front of your left thigh? If that works for you, great. If the eyes are still closed, let's go ahead and open them up. Reach the arms out to the right and left, and then up and overhead. And maybe you take your gaze up with you. Maybe you look forward, but seeing if we can lift our rib cage away from our pelvis as we root our pelvis into our feet into the floor. Yeah, keep bending into your front knee. Nice work. On your next in-breath, release the arms and then exhale, hands to the floor. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Step your right foot back to meet your left, plank pose. Great. We're going to stay here for 5 complete breaths. So you take a breath in and you take a breath out. And then that's 1. And then you take another breath in and you take another breath out. And that's 2. And you've got 3 more on your own. Keep breathing. And the deeper you make the breath, the more intense it makes the shape. So you mitigate that for you. At the end of your next exhalation, you'll inhale, shift your weight forward, and then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. If your blanket's in the way and that bothers you, go ahead and remove that, and then lie flat on your abdomen. From there, extend your arms back alongside your hips. Turn the palms to face down. Again, let's make sure our legs are at least hip distance apart. Go ahead and energize your legs. Press your pinky toes and big toenails down equally. Lightly engage your glutes, your leg muscles, and then draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. You'll then lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. You'll then start to crawl your fingertips back and maybe a little bit wider and see if that lets you lift the chest even more. Fantastic. Some of you will stay right there. Some of you will reach so far back through your toenails that you can lift the whole straight leg off the floor. Fantastic. Some of you will stay right there. Some of you might reach the arms or the fingertips so far back that they magically float up off the floor. Yeah. And with the shoulder blades hugging together on the back, your pubic bone pressing down and scooping up towards your belly button, you breathe for 3. You might lift a little higher for 2. Yeah. You'll breathe for 1. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Nice work, guys and gals. Go ahead and plant your hands alongside your ribs. Curl both sets of toes under. Now, let's see if we can do this in one piece. So again, draw shoulders up to ears, draw shoulder blades onto back, lift ears in line with tops of shoulders. Now I want you to imagine for some reason there is a tunnel underneath your belly button. Scoop your belly button away from the floor. Keep that and push up to hands and knees or plank. Yep. Fantastic. And then if you are in plank, lower your knees down, walk your knees in a little bit closer. We're going to try that weird transition to downward facing dog again. So again, let your head drop, sad little California cows. Curl all 10 toes under. Start to scoop your organs up and away from the floor. Press into your pinky toes even more as you keep scooping your organs. Lift your hips up and back to a downward facing dog. And this time, as you start to reach your heels, back and down. Notice how it feels to unfurl your spine into your downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Nice work, guys. That looks pretty. All right, inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, knee to nose, step the left foot quietly between your hands. Nice. Let's go ahead and bring our hands to our blocks and maybe bring that blanket underneath your back knee. Now you'll just pause here for a few breath cycles in this low lunge position. You're really reaching back through the inside edge of your right foot, rooting down into your left heel from your left sit bone, and then reaching your spine forward. Nice work. Next exhale, let's lower the right knee down, and then start to crawl your hands up to your front thigh. Now again, we push into the left foot, push into the right knee, suck those points together. But today we're going to draw the top of our right thigh back as we do that. And then it should change where you feel the sensation on your right quad. If you're happy there, you stay there. Otherwise, you reach up through your right arm. And then you might take a little side bend towards your left. Again, we're still keeping active in the feet and the knee that's on the floor, foot and knee that's on the floor. And then we're finding space here. And you might notice that now it goes a little bit further down towards the pelvis as you breathe. Nice work. Inhale, come back up through center. As you exhale, hands come down to the floor or the blocks, actually the blocks. Curl the back toes under. Step your right foot a little bit to the right. Spin the foot down so the toes are pointing mostly forward. And then you're going to push into the back pinky toe. So for me, I have to lift my chest up in order to do that. And then root into the left foot. And then from there, squeeze both those legs together to come up to vertical. And then again, just as we did the first time, let's bring our hands to our hips. Either soften or close the gaze. Notice what happens if you squeeze your back butt cheek on the right side. Well, your butt cheek's not on the front, but your butt cheek on the right side. Does that give you a different sensation on the front of your right thigh? From there, gaze might return to open and then arms sweep out and up and overhead. And we find Virabhadrasana 1. Notice if your gaze wants to go forward and slightly towards, I guess, where the wall and the ceiling meet, or a little bit higher, maybe up towards the hands above your head. Wherever you are, keep rooting into the feet, lifting up through the ribs. Nice work. On your next in-breath, gaze comes back to center. As you exhale, hands come down to the floor. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Pivot to the ball onto the ball of your back foot, and then step back to plank pose, fallen Kasana. And then again, 5 steady breath cycles. So we're working at our breath cycles because, Mary Richard says that's probably a more complete way of working. So you just work here, 5 breath cycles, and you notice how that feels. And then at the end of your 5th exhalation, you'll go ahead and shift your weight forward and lower all the way down. And I'm still breathing, so I got 1 more to go. But if you're already there, you go ahead and lower down. All right. Once you do find yourself onto your abdomen, we'll go ahead and again extend the arms back behind us. Option now to either keep your hands on the floor or interlace your fingers at your low back. You choose whatever works for you. Once you've got your arms sorted, let's check in with our legs again. Feet are at least hip distance apart. Toenails press down, big toenails and pinky toenails. So Sandy, press your pinky toes a little bit more. There we go. Keep the legs active. Pubic bone presses down. And then when you're ready, shoulder blades up towards the ears, shoulder blades onto the back. You might then lift head in line with shoulders. And then some of you will start to reach the arms back. Those of you that have interlaced fingers, notice what happens if you bend your elbows slightly. I notice that for me, it allows me to lift more of my upper chest if I keep a slight bend in the elbows and then still reach the hands back. And you just notice, is that true for you? If it's not, that's okay. Fantastic. And then when you're ready, we'll maybe reach the feet up and away from the floor and breathe for 3. We'll breathe for 2. We'll breathe for 1. Exhale, lower all the way down. Fantastic. Bring your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Engage the belly into the spine. Curl the toes under in your choice, hands and knees, or plank pose. If you're in plank, lower the knees back down. Walk your knees a little bit closer towards you. We're going to do that weird down dog thing again. So curl the toes under, drop your heads like sad little cows, and then start to scoop your organs away from the floor as you push down. Keep scooping the organs. Press your pinky toes down. Lift the heels up. That looks nice, Erica, to where the walls and the ceiling meet. And nice, Roberta, you'll slowly notice how the spine unfurls. Isn't that fantastic? All right, let's move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Yeah. All right, exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Nice work. Bring your hands to your blocks. Okay, and you just pause here for a moment and a breath. See if you can make the heart more buoyant. Draw the outer right hip back. Yeah, there you go. Heart more buoyant, right hip back. Fantastic. Now, some of you are going to pad and lower the back knee. Some of you are just going to lower the back knee. Okay, crawl the hands back up the front thigh. Cool. So same things we just did before. Push into the front foot, push into the back knee, suck those points together, And again, draw the top of your left hip back. Hands will now come to heart center. And you're going to lift up through the spine. And as you exhale, we're going to rotate towards the right. Now, doing what we did on our knees, you're going to take your left hand to the outside edge of your right thigh. Push your hand and thigh into each other. Push your sternum into your thumb into your sternum, and see if you can rotate more of the rib cage, the spine towards the right. Some of you will stay right here because, sometimes this feels really nice. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you're going to take that left elbow outside of your right knee, stack the hands on top of each other, push the right knee into the elbow into the knee, the palms into each other, the foot and knee into the floor, and start to rotate your rib cage towards the right. And then, are you breathing? Are you breathing deep and full as possible? Nice work. On your next in-breath, we're gently going to unwind, bring our hands to the blocks in front of us. Curl the back toes under, straighten the back leg long. Listen very closely. Only the block that's in your left hand is going to travel with you. So you're going to straighten the legs. You're going to turn both toes to the left. You're going to take the left block hand with you and find yourself in Prasarita Padottanasana, facing the long edge of your mat. Now with that block, let's put our right hand on the block underneath our face, directly underneath our face. And then you're going to bring your left hand onto your butt. Left hand onto your butt. Great. Inhale, lift your spine parallel to the floor. And then push wide into your pinky toes. Scoop the belly up into the spine. Push down into your right hand and start to roll your rib cage towards the left. Some of you will stay right here, happy as a clam. Some of you will extend your top arm. So for you, that's your left arm up towards the sky. Notice if you can hug the shoulder blades onto the back and let them create a shelf for the heart to lean back into. And you rotate even more towards the back of your space. Nice work. As you're ready, lower the left hand back down. Some of you will keep that block as it is. Some of you will adjust the setting, and we're going to fold in for Prasarita Padottanasana variation A. So maybe your head touches that block. Maybe it doesn't, but you just notice what it feels like to be here. And you just take a few moments to breathe, and you take a few moments to relax. And if you're like, that block is way too far from my head, that's okay too. Nice work. All right, take 2 more breath cycles here. And then when we're ready to come out, those of you that have your noggin on the block, inhale, bring your hands to the floor, lift your spine halfway. Fantastic. Grab the block with your left hand. We're going to pivot to the top of our space, so returning to that right leg lunge. Fantastic. Here's our awkward transition. Well, one of them. Step your back foot in to meet the top of your right. Step the back foot to meet the top of, wow. Step the back foot in. Okay. From here, slide one of the blocks in between your shin bones on its second setting. I'll say first or second setting, depends on how wide your hips are. Great. From there, let's go ahead and inhale, halfway lift. Here's our first really deep Uttanasana. Notice how that feels for you. And then exhale, fold all the way in. Inhale, bend both knees to about a 90-degree angle. Squeeze your block for dear life. Lift your spine up for Utkatasana. Hooray, people. We found ourselves in Utkatasana, chair pose. So maybe your arms are forward, maybe your arms are overhead. I don't really care. You might even have your hands here at heart center, because we'll get here the next time we come to this shape, but you choose. But you breathe, you squeeze your block, you sit your tuchus as low as you can go. Fantastic. On your next exhale, let's go ahead and fold forward. Hands come to the floor. Grab that block and take it out from between your thighs. And then let's go ahead and step first our left foot back. Low lunge. Plant both palms on the mat and step your right foot back. Plank pose. Yay! 5 breath cycles here. Lightly hug the glutes. Again, reach the sternum forward. The back of the skull lifts into an imaginary hand. And you breathe for 3 more breath cycles here. Noticing what it feels like to take a full, complete belly breath. At the end of your next exhalation, you'll inhale, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower all the way down, slower than you want to. All All right. Once you get to your belly, this is a psych out. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing this, but it's part of the prep. Let's go and find ourselves in Sphinx pose. So step your elbows underneath your shoulders. Your forearms make a number 11 shape. Again, make sure your feet are at least hip distance apart. Tops of the feet are on the floor. And you might just stay here and close your eyes and breathe. This is the psych out. It's a mini rest. So I just want you to breathe. Some of you will stay just here as you are. Some of you, if you like that neck stretch thing that we do from time to time, you will drop your right ear to the right. You'll push down into your left palm like crazy and isometrically draw it back as you maybe open and close your mouth a few times. Fantastic. If you were doing that, let's go ahead and stop that and come back to neutral. Notice if you notice anything between the sides, and then maybe drop your left ear to the left, isometrically push down into your right hand, suck that hand back, and then maybe open and close your mouth a few times, feeling a stretch across the muscles on the right side of your neck. Awesome sauce. If you're doing that, go ahead and come back to center. Lower your head down. Take a moment to just let the back come back to neutral and breathe. And then let's move on. Bring your hands next to your low ribs. Curl all 10 toes under. Draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back. If your legs are straight, you energize your legs. Everybody scoops their belly away from the floor, pushes down into your hands, and lifts up in one piece to hands and knees or plank. And then again, lower your knees to the mat. And going back into that weird downward facing dog transition. So again, drop your head, sad little cows, scoop your bellies under, press more into your pinky toes than anything, and then start to scoop these organs away from the floor. Lift your tuchus to where the wall and the ceiling meet and feel your spine unfurl into downward facing dog, noticing particularly what's happening into your shoulder joint as you do this. Yep, fantastic. And then let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Yay! Exhale, step that foot between your hands, plant the foot down. Bring your hands to your blocks. I'm just laughing at myself. That's really funny. And then from here, we're going to pad the back knee if we haven't already, and then lower your back knee down. Again, we'll suck the 2 points of contact towards each other. So left foot, right knee, suck towards each other. Draw the top of your right thigh back, and then bring your hands to heart center. Great. First thing we'll do is inhale, lift up through the spine. As we exhale, we'll start to rotate towards the left. We'll take our right hand to the outside edge of our left knee, left thigh presses into right hand pulls into thigh. You push your left thumb into your sternum into your thumb. You rotate your spine towards the left, and you might just stay here, happy as a clam. This feels pretty nice. Some of you will draw your right elbow outside of your left knee. You'll stack your left hand right on top of it. We'll again push the elbow into the thigh area, the thigh into the elbow, push the palms into each other, push the left foot into the floor, right knee into the floor, scoop the belly on your left side and rotate towards the left. Nice. Fantastic. From here, let's gently unwind. Bring our hands back to our blocks. Curl the back toes under, straighten the back leg long. Our right block is the one that stays with us. So we'll straighten our front leg long. We'll turn our toes to the right. We'll take our right block with us and put it directly underneath our face. From here, let's bring our left hand onto the block underneath our face, our right hand onto our sacrum. Great. Inhale, lift your spine parallel to the floor. And then from here, press out into your pinky toes, scoop your belly away from the floor, push down into your left hand, start to rotate your rib cage towards the right. Some of you will stay there, drawing the left shoulder away from the left ear. That's a fun stretch. And some of you will reach your right arm, that's the top arm, up towards the sky. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work. All right. When you're ready, gently lower that right hand to the floor. We'll take Prasarada Padottanasana once again. So if you need to adjust the block, great. Put it where it works for you. And then notice if you want your hands to be somewhere specific this time. Like, do you want them on your ankles? Do you want them near the block so you feel like you've got more of this tripod headstand type of thing going on? Julie, bring a slight bend into your knees for me. There we go. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work, Barbara. Can you let your head be heavier? There we go. Fantastic. All right. Those of you with your heads on a block, inhale. Let's lift our spines halfway. Great. Grab your block, turn to face the front of your mat, low lunge. From here, we're going to take a giant step forward for mankind. Oh, that's better. So then your right foot comes forward. That's a much better cue. And then you'll put the block in between your shin bones or whatever setting works for you. Now, just so I'm clear, let's make sure all of us have a block to the left side of our bodies. So a block is to the left side of our bodies. All right. From here, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Next in-breath, sit your butt long and low, or deep and low for Utkatasana, chair pose. I'm going to scoot back. All right. So in our chair pose, we're going to bring our hands to heart center. We're going to see how low we consider pelvis. We're going to, again, squeeze that block. Some of us will stay right here and be like, Jessica, you knock yourself out. Some of us are going to scoop our bellies and start to rotate towards the left. We might then hook our left elbow outside of our left knee. That block is there underneath our left hand shoulder thing, so, or rather right hand. So maybe you bring your hand to the block as you reach your left arm up towards the sky. Maybe you bring the right hand to the floor, but you notice what's working for you and you pause and you breathe and you let go of any aspiration to do something that is not appropriate for you at this moment in time. Fantastic. If you opened your arms, bring them back to press into each other. And then we'll inhale, unwind the spine, sit for a moment in chair pose. I know that's not going to be fun. And then we'll go ahead and fold forward, Uttanasana. Take a moment to find relief and release. Switch your block to the other side. Great. And then from here, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, sit your butt low, Utkatasana, chair pose, hands to heart center. So now we'll try that on the other side. So again, we'll sit our butt low, we'll scoop our belly and rotate towards the right. As we keep our twist, we want to see if we can keep our butt from lifting up to accomplish this and keep our butt pretty low. Maybe you hook your left elbow outside of your right knee and just rotate towards the right. Maybe you reach your right fingers up, your left fingers down, and you just pause and you breathe and you notice what's working for you. Yeah. Those that open the arms, when you're ready, the hands will come back to center. Inhale, unwind the spine. One breath cycle here. And then exhale, fold in. Yay, we're done with that. Go ahead and release your block. Step first your right leg back, low lunge. Plant your palms, step your left leg back, plank pose. 5 breath cycles. 5 steady breath cycles. All right. After you've done 5, you'll inhale, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Fantastic. When you find yourself finally on your belly, turn to face the right side of the space. So put your left cheek on the mat, bend your right knee, reach around with your right hand and grab your right foot. Now you can mitigate this for yourselves. So if you want it to be more, well, mitigate this for yourself. So figure out if you need to point your foot or flex your foot. Notice if it feels better to lift the thigh a little bit away from the floor or keep the thigh completely rooted. All right. From there, let's gently release the right foot. Bring your right cheek to the mat. And then go ahead and bend your left knee. Grab your left foot with your left hand. And then again, notice if you need to point your foot, flex your foot, lift the thigh, root the thigh. And they didn't say this, but make sure you're still aware of what's going on with your right leg as well. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and gently release that. Let's go ahead and come up and sit for a looky-loo. Okay. So you guys are going to do this in a moment, but I feel like I should tell you what it is first because sometimes it feels weird. So you're going to bend your knees and see if you can reach your heels. If you're like, yeah, Jessica, my arms aren't that long, you've got blocks and you can put the blocks here. What we're trying to do is activate the backs of our legs. So if you can hold on to your feet, you're just going to kick your heels into your hands and push your hands into your heels until you feel the backs of your legs come on. If you're like, I cannot reach there, you've got the block to do that, okay? So let's make our way back to our abdomen. Did that make sense or was that weird and you have no idea what I'm asking? Okay, thanks, Sandy. So first thing you'll do is go ahead and bend your knees. See if you can touch your heels. If your heels feel too far away, no worries, grab a block, put one in each hand. And then the first thing that you're going to do is you're just going to kick your heels, push your heels into your hands into your heels until you start to feel the backs of your legs engage. And we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. So we're just pushing, we're not holding on. We'll breathe here for 1. Exhale, let go. Let everything go. Okay, and just take a breath cycle here. Now the more common version of Dhanurasana. Go ahead and bend your knees. Reach around and grab the tops of your feet. Okay. Now, draw the shoulders up towards the ears, draw the shoulder blades onto your back, really root down into your pelvis. And then when you're ready, you'll kick the feet, you'll lift the heads, you'll come up. And so the feet are kind of pointed here. You're drawing the shoulder blades together on your back. You're seeing how far you can lift your chest and you breathe. Breathing into your abdomen specifically. Nice work. And then when you're ready, you'll let it go. You'll bring an ear to the mat and you'll just take a few breath cycles here. Lots of long, steady, deep breath cycles. Okay. Go ahead and bring your forehead back to the mat. Bend your knees. This time, let's flex our feet. And if you can, again, reach back and see if you can push or kick your heels into your hands into your feet. So we're not holding on yet. You're just going to kick and push and just feel what that feels like with your feet actively flexed. And maybe you lift your head, maybe you don't. It depends on how your back body works, but you kick and you breathe and you breathe and you kick. And then when you're ready, gently release that. And then 4th time's the charm. Let's go ahead and bring our foreheads back to the mat. Bend our knees, grab the outside edges of your ankles this time. Flex through your feet. When you're ready, draw the shoulders up towards the ears, the shoulder blades onto the back, lift your noggin, and then when you're ready, you'll kick back and lift up for Dhanurasana bow pose. And again, you breathe. You notice how it feels. Fantastic. When you're ready, gently release down. Bring the opposite ear to the mat and just take a few breath cycles here. All right. When you're ready, bring your forehead back to the mat. Bring your hands alongside your low ribs. Your choice on how you do this. We're going back to downward facing dog. So maybe you work on the way that we've been entering it the whole class. Maybe you're like, I'm just going to lift my hips up and back to downward facing dog. You get there however works for you. But I do encourage you to take your time getting there and just notice how it feels. Nice job, guys. and gals. Fantastic. All right. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot in towards you, planting it between your hands. Sorry, I got caught on my words. We're going to set ourselves up for pigeon here. So some of you are going to wiggle walk your right foot towards your left hand. A lot of you might want to put your hands on blocks here. There we go. Some of you will just pull all 5 toes of the right foot up and open the right knee to the right. Some of you will slide the right foot back towards your left hip a little bit because it'll feel better for you and you'll point the toes. And then you'll just take a few breath cycles to get yourself into your pigeon pose. So Erica, if you stay there, that is a fantastic option. You might notice what happens if you lower your back knee down first. Yep. And then you can notice how you can draw your outer right hip back and then maybe walk your left knee back. And it gives you a very different sensation, especially as you continue to flex through your right foot. Awesome. And then you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. And if you're at a 90-degree angle with your front foot, your foot is flexed. If you're at less than a 90-degree angle, your front foot is pointed. Awesome sauce. When you're ready to come out of this, you gently come out of it however you got into it and make your way back to downward facing dog. And then just notice how the right butt feels in comparison to the left butt. And then we'll try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Exhale, step the left foot between your hands. We'll wiggle walk the left foot over towards the right hand. Lift all 5 toes up and allow the left knee to open to the left. And then you notice what adjustment you need to make for you to be in your pigeon pose. And you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. We've got about 3 more breath cycles here. And then when you're ready, you're going to come out of it however you got into it. And make your way back to your downward facing dog. Awesome sauce. All right, when you're ready, let's inhale, roll our spines forward to plank. Slower than you want to, lower all the way onto your belly. So slower than you want to, slower than you want to. It's like, hit me with your best shot. No, that song's not going to happen. Okay, once you're on your abdomen, look at that. Good job, guys. Gals, people, fantastic. Once you finally descend to the floor, let's go ahead and extend one of our arms alongside our ears. Roll over onto your side and flip over onto your back like a happy little sausage in a pan. I don't know if sausage is so happy about being in the pan, but maybe it is. And then once you find yourself on your backs, let's make sure our strap is still somewhere easily accessible to us. Great. Let's go ahead and bend our knees and plant our feet firmly on the floor. So the task for today is 90 degrees. That is the action of the day, all is Sesame Street. So let's bend our knees, draw your right foot in towards your chest, put the strap across the ball of your right foot, and then reach your right foot up towards the sky in a 90-degree angle. Right foot up towards the sky. So we really want to be 90 degrees. So your right thigh is at a 90-degree angle. It's straight up to the sky. It's not closer to you. It's not further away. We want the 90-degree so that the thigh bone can root into the sacrum so that we can widen the low back from all of the back bends that we did. So some of you will stay right here. You'll just pull down on that strap. You'll kick your heel up. You will have a happy time sitting here. Some of you will extend the opposite leg. So that's your left leg long against the floor. And we're going to stay here for about a minute. And I want you to just breathe. We're doing 90 degrees. Not much more than that, if at all. And you just pause and you breathe and you're experiencing how the breath moving into your belly is opening your low back. And this is helping with your hamstrings, which is opening your low back. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. All right, Jenny, can you draw your leg away from you just a little bit? Your right leg. There we go. All right. You've got about another 20 seconds or so. So just keep breathing. Notice if you can soften shoulders. If you can keep reaching up through that right heel. Nice work. And then at the end of your next exhalation, let's bend the left leg if it's long. Put the left foot on the floor. And then go ahead and bend the right leg and put the right foot next to the left. So both feet are on the floor, both knees are bent. And just notice if you notice anything between the sides. If you do, great. If you don't, great. So, okay. Awesome. And then when we're ready, we'll try the other side. So this time our left leg comes into our chest. The strap goes around the ball of your left foot. And then we're finding a 90-degree angle in the hip. And the more that you can reach up through the back of your left leg by extending up through the heel and then actually pressing the ball of the foot and specifically the pinky toe and the big toe edge of the ball of the foot up as the toes curl down to your face, you'll find that whole engagement on the back line. And then if that feels good to you, you'll stay there. Some of you might extend the opposite leg so that's your right leg long against the floor. And then notice if you can soften the front of the chest. So the shoulder, there you go, Julie. So the shoulder blades just slide onto the back. Feels like your heart puffs up, it's open. You've let go of some of the tension around there. Nice. We've got about another 30 seconds or so here. You just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work. Take 3 more breath cycles here. Check in if the shoulders have crept up. There we go. At the end of this next exhalation, we'll go ahead and bend our right leg, put the right foot on the floor, bend the left knee, release the strap, and put the left foot next to the right. From here, let's go ahead and walk our feet outside of our hips. Let your knees fall in towards each other. And then maybe wrap your arms around your torso to give yourself a hug for constructive rest. You're just going to give yourself a giant hug. Internal hug. Yay! And just breathe. Take breaths. Letting the elbows rest right on top of each other if possible. The weight of the arms collapse into your chest. Okay. Some of you will be happy as a clam to stay right here. Some of you will open your arms out into a T shape and take some slow windshield wipers of the legs. So maybe the legs first fall to your right, and you pause and you breathe there for a bit. And then maybe you come back up through center, and then you slowly let the legs fall to the left, and you pause and breathe there for a moment. And you might do that a few more times. Those that are still in constructive rest, you might just change whichever arm is on top. Those of you in movement with your windshield wipering legs, make sure you do an equal number on each side. It's not always necessary, but seems like it's a good thing to do as general practice. And then once you feel complete with that, the final shape we're going to take for just a few breaths will be Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees open and splayed like a book. Because we're just going to rest here for a few breaths, feel free to go sans blocks. If you feel like you might want to stay here longer than what I cue, go ahead and put your blocks there. But you're just going to allow yourself to rest, letting the inner thighs open. We've got 2 more breath cycles here like this. And then if you want to stay here a little bit longer, I would encourage the support of the blocks. But if you're ready to go to Shavasana, you can move to Shavasana. All right. And so from wherever you are, let's start to make our way to our final shape, whether you're going to stay in Supta Baddha Konasana or make your way to Shavasana, or maybe you even want to do legs up the wall, who knows. But let's make our way to our final shape. And as you're traveling there, if your space is cold or you tend to get cold, I would encourage you to cover your body with something, whether it's clothing or a blanket or something, towel even. Oh my God, that's amazing. Erica Sky's just right there. Wonder if she'll lay down with you. Nope. Okay. And as we find ourselves into our final shapes, those of you that are still adjusting, take your time. I want you to spend the first few moments here kind of similar to the way that we started. So, really finding how you can let the body become heavy. What adjustments to the physical form do you need to make so that it feels like it can drop, it can rest, it can let go? Because I mean, one of the things about Tony Kushner's work, which is I think I'm starting to appreciate a little bit more, is it's easy to tell someone that they have to let go because that's the only thing that they can do. However, the reality is most of us won't do it, just like our body will not do it until we feel supported, until we feel like there is something or someone that will catch us. So you are giving yourself the opportunity right now to trust in the support of the floor, aka the universe, aka your family and friends. So, how do you need to position yourself so that you can open up to being supported? Great. Now, once you got your physical stuff done, great. I want you to just take 5 breaths. And you're just noticing how it feels to breathe in this moment. Can you let the breath again enter into the belly? Maybe between pubic bone and navel, feeling how that expands into the low back. It opens up the pelvic floor. Maybe your breath decides it wants to be, can be a little bit bigger. So maybe it's from the pubic bone to the lowest part of your front ribs. Maybe it wants to be, can be a little bit bigger. So maybe it's all the way from your pubic bone all the way up into your collarbones. Whatever your breath is capable of doing at this moment and wanting to do at this moment, I invite you to take the next 5 breaths, just breathing as fully, as completely, as softly as you can, letting yourself drop into that support, letting yourself experience what it feels like to let go, to soften, and to open. And then at the end of your 5th exhalation, just simply let this go and allow your awareness to rest on the involuntary rhythm of the breath. And I'll leave you here with you for the next few moments, next few breath cycles. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape. If so, just stay here as long as you'd like. When you are ready to move on, allow gentle movement to re-enter into the fingers and the toes. You might then begin to stretch and yawn and wiggle the body in any way that feels good to you. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, start to make your way to one of your sides. Pause there for a few breath cycles. And then gently, you'll start to roll your chest towards the floor. Use your top hand to walk your spine up to vertical. When you are vertical, I do encourage you to sit on something, whether it's a block or a blanket, pillow, or a cushion. And then plant your hands wherever is comfortable for you. So maybe the hands are on the thighs, maybe you stack the hands right on top of each other. But sit as tall as you can, really rooting down through the pelvis, lifting up through the spine, allowing shoulder blades to slide down the back, allowing your jaw to release. We're not clenching and gripping. And then let the eyes remain soft. And as we're here for these next few breaths, I want you to just take a scan of the body. And you just notice wherever there's tension, and you don't have to do anything about it. Just send your awareness to that part of the body. And often you'll notice that by simply directing your awareness, the part will naturally start to relax. It'll start to release. It'll realize that there are other parts of the body that can support the action that it's attempting to do. And so it'll let go. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by an Om. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really root or press the palms into each other. And draw the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and then lift the sternum into the thumbs. Soften the chin just a little bit and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, that sense of release within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, the sense of release within each of you. Namaste.